The opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the speakers and not of DoD or any of its components.
Take me to the countryside. Gotta get out of these city lights. Drinking my cup, got me feeling right.
Well, thank you for coming, man.
Yeah.
So if you saw kind of the one that I did with Matt, the way I look at it is, man, we're just shooting shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, I don't have any format. I don't have any script.
We got this life book, man. I thought you were going to ask me some questions or something.
Yeah,
Wasn't quite prepared, dude.
It's a prop. I'll be honest with you, it's a prop. It's a table prop. You know what I mean? Like, it makes me seem interesting. It is the 100 photographs that changed the world.
Yeah.
So, it's actually a pretty cool little thing, but it's totally there just to look cool.
Yeah.
But you can thumb through it if you want to.
No, I'm good, man. Maybe we'll thumb through it in a little bit.
Yeah. Well, so
thanks for having me over, man. I appreciate you.
It's all good.
Good idea. And hope this kicks off for you.
I think it's gonna be good, man. Yeah. Did y'all go skiing today?
We did.
Yeah, go to
Oku.
Yeah. That's your middle one, right?
Cam's my middle guy. Yeah, my sweet boy.
That's your dude, huh?
Yeah,
we're not supposed to have favorites, right? I'm not saying he's your favorite.
He's not my favorite. They're all my favorite. Dude.
I got you, dude.
Winkety wink wink.
Yeah. So there's something about the middle kid, though, right? You got 3 boys. I got 3 girls, right? And I love them all equally in their own way, right? But just like Hazel and I have, I guess, a connection. We're real similar to each other. She's very organized and, very kind of conscientious about her grades and stuff like that. And so is Elizabeth. Millie, not so much. But Millie is the most talented. She can sing and dance, and she's just this wonderful kid. You know what I mean? I think part of it, though, at least for us, right? In the Navy. So when Millie was born, I was gone. Out of first 18 months, I was probably gone 12 of it.
Yep.
And so that's a real critical time where they're sitting on your lap, and you're watching TV together, and you're feeding them and changing diapers, and the same thing with Elizabeth, right? But with Hazel, I was on shore duty in Tennessee, so she was born in Memphis, and from the time we brought her home, I was there every day for the first 2 years, right? And it's amazing how big of a difference. You wouldn't think it does, but just at that early age, it makes a big difference, right? And kind of the connection you have with them. So.
I can't imagine that, dude. For me, I missed most of the pregnancies.
Deployment?
Audrey gives me shit for that all the time.
Yeah?
Happen, I'm out.
Love you, honey.
She's got a big belly.
Yeah.
She's, I don't, all that morning sickness, man. I wasn't there for any of that stuff, man.
Really?
But, that's.
Did you get to be there for all the births?
I did.
That's good.
Yeah, it just kind of worked out to where I come back.
Good,
and it was crazy. I remember one of them when I went to Baghdad. And it was for Ryland.
Mm-hmm.
And we left, and Audrey looked the same. I came back, and it was just the craziest thing to see your wife with this belly.
Yeah.
And I was my oldest, man, so I missed all of it.
Yeah. Me too. I missed a lot of the pregnancy. I was there for all 3 of them to be born, cut all the umbilical cords, which is, again, in the Navy, same thing, right? We try to get people home in time. And I'd say probably 80-85% of the time, as long as you're not in theater, warheads on foreheads, right? If you're in 5th Fleet fighting the war, you're probably not gonna get home, right? But if you're on patrol in 7th Fleet AOR, so Southeast, Asia, South China Sea, all that, usually we can get close enough so we can fly you in with a helo and then get you back, right? But I got lucky. I was there for all 3 of the births. But then I was on sea duty for Millie and for Elizabeth. So, when Millie was born, literally, she was born, I stayed for 2 days, and then I met the ship in Australia. And then I was gone for about 3 months, came back, home for about a month, and then we did an 8-month haul over to 5th Fleet, Second Battle of Fallujah. We sent Marines in, all that stuff, right? And I remember, so I left, she was maybe 9 months, and I come back. And so she was 18 months. Yeah. A lot happens between 9 and 18 months, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I remember Mommy came to pick me up, and Millie was sitting in the car seat in the back, and she could see like the rearview mirror. I gave her a hug and kiss and everything, and she kind of had this confused look on her face. And
Who's this dude?
yeah, and then like she goes, Mama, Papa, right? Papa, and Mom was like, yeah, that's Papa. She was like, Papa, because she'd been showing her pictures and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
I think that's one of the things, man. We when we lived in Tampa, we had a few folks in our neighborhood that would, for work, they'd leave for 1 or 2 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And they would like, I miss my family, man. And
yeah,
you don't want to share stories like this of like, hey, dude, do you realize what it's like when your kid points at you and says, "Are you my dad?"
Yeah.
Like, that's terrible, man.
I am actually.
But that is there's so many service members, dude, that have those same stories, man. That miss.
It's like a normal
chunk,
thing for us almost.
Miss a good chunk, man. And
yeah,
our kiddos are resilient, man. So they bounce back pretty quick. But I think that's one of the things that outside the military, folks don't realize how much sacrifice.
They don't appreciate it, and that's not. I don't say they don't appreciate it, as in like they're not thankful for it, or like
you just don't know.
Understand.
Yeah, you just don't know,
right?
Until you go through that. And
yeah, I mean, but I think there is something to be said about how tough it makes our kids.
Yeah,
like military kids, man, do very well. By and large, right? Like because they don't have kind of this very easy life. Now, in some regards, especially if, I'll give you like my example. My kids have grown up overseas, essentially, right? So mostly Dodea schools or Japanese schools. And so, like, man, if I brought those kids and like we went to Houston, and and they had to go to like a big 5A school in South Houston, they wouldn't. They'd be okay. They'd get there, but I think they would be shocked at, some of the crap that happens in like a normal kind of high
tough,
school,
man.
right?
So I was Dodds, my whole Dodea old school Dodds is.
Yeah.
I was that from kindergarten till deep into my 10th grade year, man. And my first school that I went to outside of Dodds, at that time, Dodds, was a public Florida school, man. 2,000 kids. I went from a graduating class of like 40 to 500, man.
Yeah.
And then, there's so many different categories of folks that go to that school, because there's like the uber rich, and then there's like, the non-uber rich.
Yeah.
And so many cliques and fights, and it was just, to me, it was crazy. I remember hearing about drugs sometimes in Dodea and Dodd schools. Like it was like almost an urban legend. Like you heard it a little bit,
right? Yeah.
But like day one, I'll never forget this, man. Walking through that public school in Florida, there was a $20 bill hanging out of a locker, and the person showed me around. I was like, "What is that?" They're like, "Don't touch it." I was like, "Are you shitting me, man? What is this?" Like, my poor little Dodea ass, like Dodds. I was like, man,
no clue.
What's going on, man? Like,
naive,
dude. But I think at the end of the day, I think the bouncing around that they do, man, that was a culture shock for me.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty good lesson in life, man, to where I need to find the good crowds for me.
Yeah.
I went from a school not knowing anybody to just finding those 2 or 3 in my inner circle that I was good with out of those 500, man, and I was squared away.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and that's kind of carried with me for a long time, man.
Yeah, you keep a pretty small circle, kind of like I do. I think I have a lot of people that I know.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people that I'm friendly with, right? But as far as like friends, like people that if I'm in a bind.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pick up the phone.
Shovel buddy, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Hey man, it's 2 a.m. I need you to give me a shovel and 3 bags, dude. That's it, dude. You don't ask some damn questions. You just show up.
Come on, man. Here's where I am. I'll drop a pin.
All right. Yeah. Only a few of those in life, man.
Right.
And that's all you really need, dude. I agree. Acquaintances are the other ones, and that's why I struggle with sometimes, man. Because there's, as you try to balance military career, family, and friends. To me, there's such a devotion to friends, to true friends, the inner circle friends. It's hard for me to find that much time to have such a big circle, man.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of great people out there, but
yeah, I think that probably like me, as you come through the senior enlisted ranks, you go to like your academy and all that stuff, and you do like your all these different personality tests, right? Like the MBTI or some more advanced ones. And without fail, man, I'm an introvert, right? Without fail, I'm an introvert. And I think some people, like when I tell them that, because I have the gift of gab. I can talk for days, man. I stand in front of people. I have no problem with any of that, right? But what you learn about that is like that's how you recharge is being alone, right? So if I give me a couple hours to watch some Netflix, read a book, like I can go do whatever, and I think that kind of introverted nature, it can be difficult, right? Especially once you get into kind of a more senior position, because you're expected to kind of be this like socialite in a lot of ways, right? Like I gotta go to this event and that event, and you're expected to go out and mingle, and you can do all those things, but it can be pretty fucking exhausting at the same time, So
it is, man, and I think that's one of the things where all my interviews I had for my next jobs, it was they ask about personality, and I throw it out there. I'm like, man, I am 100% an introvert, dude. I don't, when I spent my year in Korea, I kind of had a policy, like on Sundays, I would wake up early enough to the gym to not see anybody.
Yeah.
And then I go to my room, man, and my goal was not to see a person, dude.
Yeah.
And I would just hang out, read my books, do whatever I do.
Yeah.
And recharge for the week, man, be ready to rock on Monday.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's a functional introvert to where you get out and about, and
it's not that it's even painful to do it. It's just it's not my favorite thing.
Yeah, definitely not my favorite thing, man. Public speaking and all that kind of stuff, it's still nerve-wracking. I always joke around, like people ask me like, oh, you do a good job, and I'm like, dude, every time I look at my watch prior to anything, man, it's like $1.20, $1.30, like it still fires up, man, because it's not my comfort zone,
right?
But we're expected to do it, right?
So it's part of the gig, right?
It is definitely part of the gig, man. But
so, man, you grew up in Germany mostly, right?
Yeah.
So did y'all like skip around to different bases, or were you mainly in kind of one place?
No, man. So in kindergarten we got there, I was 5, and we actually moved from Kadena to Germany.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was 5, and my dad was stationed in Bitburg, which it's since closed.
Like Bitburg.
Bitburg. Yeah,
Bitburg
Bitburg has
beer?
shitty beer.
Yeah.
That's terrible, man. Don't drink it. I tell you what, when I was like 15 or 16, I had a buddy that worked at the brewery, and he got like 60 liters a month for free.
Holy cow!
So yeah, we drank it, man. But,
I mean,
it is what it is. That's a legal drinking age in Germany.
Yeah. I might add.
Yes, I might add. Did you throw that little disclaimer shit at the beginning? Yeah,
whatever, man.
Put that in there.
Whatever, man.
But yeah, he did a whole bunch of jobs in Germany. So they had F-15s at Bitburg at the time before they shipped out that mission. So maintainer for a long time.
He's a maintainer.
That's what he did, yeah.
Okay.
And then he did aircraft battle damage repair. So it's really, really cool. Like anytime an aircraft comes back, it's got damage. It's like quick metalwork, riveting stuff. It's like
we would call it like an airframer.
Yeah, it's really quick work, man. It's
Yeah.
just to patch it up to get it right back in the air, man.
Wow.
It's not.
Okay.
Yeah, so they kind of went away from that. AFSC, he was jobless for a little while there, but he really just kind of IPCOTted or whatever they call it there at the time, and just stayed in Germany for that long, man. Which
Like
was
consecutive overseas tours.
for 10 years, man, at the same base, and
Yeah.
wound up going to Spangdahlem when that mission was there, and did like a QA, a quality inspector job or something like that, and then that's when he found his recruiting calling, and he became a recruiter, and then he went to Florida after that to actually recruit. So yeah, man, that's where I grew up. That's where I call home, which was weird because for me, you very rarely meet a military brat, and there was probably a 25-year period of my life where I only was in Germany and Florida. And being a military brat and being in the military, to say 25 years of my life I was only in 2 places, it is very rare.
100%, man. That's kind of my kid's experience.
Yeah.
I was doing the math. It's almost 15 out of the last 21 years I've been in Japan.
Yeah.
So my kids, like Elizabeth, my little one, and she'll turn 13 next month, right? And she's lived only in Japan except for 3 years in Hawaii, right? And will continue to do so because I'm not leaving, just so we're clear, right? But so I get it, and you're right. Like most military kids, they move around a lot, but to be in one place is rare.
Yeah, it's rare.
Yeah. How'd you like Germany though, man? You loved it? You liked it?
Man. So as a kid, it was awesome. It was kind of like Misawa is, to where we had free roam, man. And it was me and some of the buddies I still keep in contact to this day, man. Like we would just leave when the sun was up, man, and come back when the sun was down, drink from a water hose when we were thirsty, and like random moms would feed us throughout the day, and it was safe. And even going downtown, man, we'd go outside the gate and have all the fun we can have, and it was a cool place to grow up, dude. It was, to this day, there's still like a Bitburg clique. And those are some of the greatest relationships long term that I've had, man, because you can't replace any of that. It's and that's one of the things I always sell to Masawa for folks is, it's nice for like Camden to go to BX whenever he wants. And these kids kind of have free reign. It's not like it was back then,
right?
Because they're not going off base as much. But we ran the town, man. It was awesome, dude. And we had some friends that were off base, and there was like a skating rink we'd all go to on a Friday, Saturday night. Listen to that German techno shit.
So David Hasselhoff.
They love some Americans, man. They love some Americans, man. I remember having some girlfriends, man. And I was that kid that was, and it's funny because Ryland's kind of the same way, but he's not really getting his facial hair. Like, he's just losing his hair.
I saw that,
That poor bastard.
It happens.
We call that a skullet, man. It's a mullet showing a little bit of a skull. But anyway, so I had like the little goatee, so I would tell these, girls I was a little bit older. I remember my mom, she's like, Joey, there's some grown women here for you. They were probably 17, and I was probably 13 or 14, dude. And
who's counting?
Yeah, they would come on base too because it was open gates. Like there was this is pre-September 11th, man. Like, come and go as you please, and so it was just a great place to grow up, man.
I'll tell you, man. Like I was talking to Frank. We sat down last night, and really. Not just him, but I talked to a lot of people that either have been stationed or on deployment, whether it's with the CBs or whatever, in Europe in general, right? And the two like people say Italy's a shithole, first of all, right? Like it's beautiful on the coast, but like it's kind of a shithole, right? Kind of dirty. But everybody says Germany and Spain. They're like, dude, like amazing. I've never heard anybody that did not enjoy their tour there, kind of thing, I would love to go to Germany, man. It looks fucking awesome.
It's phenomenal, dude. So we went back. The two differences, man. So Ramstein's a couple hours away from Bitburg, and Spangdahl maybe an hour and some change. Ramstein's a cool place, but it used to be the largest gathering of Americans outside of America. So in a 50 square mile radius, there's 50,000 Americans.
Holy cow! Yeah, so kind of like Okinawa.
It's like. It's almost too westernized, man, to where I remember when I got back. So that's why I went the second time when I made master and got back to Ramstein. Yeah. And I still remember some German as a kid, man. And I remember thinking, like, I'm going to press Audrey, like, I'm going to go order this bratwurst. And I'm like, ein Bratwurst mit Simp or something like that. And they're like, you want anything else? I'm like, dude, like I've been working on this all day. But that's just because it's so mini America there, man. So Spang and Bitburg, Spang has still got a great mission, man. And it's still kind of out in the middle of nowhere, dude. So that's the hidden gem. I always tell people, if you can get to one of them, man, go to Spang. Because you can live outside and actually feel like you're in a different country. We ended up getting a pretty cool ass house. We lived probably 15 or 20 minutes away from the base in this little town, man. And it was a farming town, man. Like one of our neighbors had emus.
Oh, yeah.
And like
nice.
Weird animal. Yeah. You ever heard an emu make some noise, dude?
No, I can imagine.
No, it's like a doom, doom, doom. It's like a big ass drum that scared the shit out of me the first time I heard it, man. But so we lived in this little farming village, man. It smelled like cows and whatever, but we loved it. Like there was a fresh bakery truck that would come through every morning, man, stop by our house. And you get like 10 fresh rolls for €1, so $1.30. And then the meats and cheeses. And oh man, it was phenomenal, dude. But that is a great assignment.
Spend it all on it. I mean, I've heard it. Obviously, when I hear Germany, of course, Rammstein and There's another one where we have like our URAF command. It's not Ramstein. It's what's the other big one over there? I can't think of it, and I won't.
Stuttgart.
Stuttgart. That's
Yep.
it. Yeah, Stuttgart.
Mhm.
So, yeah, man. So where all have you been? I know we talked about this, so I know you did. Just kind of walk me through. So, joined in Florida, went to basic, and then like I know you've been all over the place. You did some stuff with AFSOC as a firefighter and a lot of stuff, right? So I know I could have read your bio, but I'm fucking lazy. So
That's okay, man.
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's all right, Dean. I'll tell you the story.
Yeah, thanks.
So Herbert Field is on the Gulf Coast there,
Right.
next to Eglin, man, probably 10, 15 miles away.
Yeah.
That's in Fort Walton Beach. So we moved from Germany, from Bitburg, Germany, to Fort Walton Beach. That's
Which is like kind of about Destin, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all in the same area.
Beautiful
Panhandle.
area.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful, man, but it's the redneck Riviera, dude.
Oh,
It
yeah, I
is-
know.
Oh, yeah.
I know. White sand, though.
It is white sand, man, but it's the South, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, my dad recruited out of there, man. So I went to Fort Walton Beach High School. Closest base is Hurlburt, maybe 3-4 miles away. So joined up, man, and maybe we'll walk through why I did that later. I don't know, but
Yeah, we'll get there.
joined up and went to my tech school, which was in Goodfellow, Texas, St. Angelo,
Okay.
Texas.
Yep.
Kind of middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Got my assignment. Sponsor stuff kind of fell through, so all I had was a DSN number. It said call this place and you get an assignment. So I looked at some DSN codes, man. I thought I was going to Tinker or something like that.
Yeah.
And I called my dad. I was like, I'm going to Tinker. He's like, what? I was told you were going to Florida, because he was still in the military at that time. And I was like, huh.
Interesting.
So I called the number. They're like, yeah, you're going back to Herbert Field. So very odd that,
So you almost went home.
yeah, I did go home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 3 miles away from where I went to high school, man. I
Yeah.
went right back to that base, and which was extremely odd. And I kind of fell into some of the friends I had there still, and like even had a girlfriend from high school still there.
Wow.
And so it was weird because it was almost like I was in the guard, right? Because I joined
Right,
the military
right,
and I went
right.
back home.
Yeah.
And so I thought to myself, man, you know, I'm in the military. Like, I probably won't be here forever. Like, 10 years later, Dean, I'm still at the same spot.
Holy cow.
Yeah, still at the same spot, man. So I
Really?
joined to travel the world a little bit, see some cool things, and made
Yeah.
it 3 miles for 10 years. But I got to deploy 6 times with AFSOC, so
Okay.
that was cool, man. AFSOC, that wing there, the 1 Sal, it's the most deployed wing in the Air Force. So people are always going out the door, man.
So without getting too detailed, kind of so when I think about AFSOC, in kind of general terms, what's that mission? I mean, I know you have the guy like the air controllers, like TAC air controllers,
Yeah.
whatever, right? But like what other, like you say, it's the most deployed aircraft. Like, what do they do?
Well, it's most deployed wing, so
Okay,
they're
okay.
always supporting anybody. So
Got it.
SOF is the mission, so Special Op Forces,
Got it.
whatever.
So it could be helos, it could be
Yeah.
transport aircraft,
Yeah,
things
so
like
a
that,
few
right?
like the gunships are there,
Okay,
the
okay.
130s, and we were
Yeah.
there. They had some U models, and I'm not quite sure what they have there right now.
Yeah.
Probably got to get spun up on it pretty quick.
Yeah. We'll get to that too.
Yeah. CB-22s, they came in. It used to be
Right.
53s, and those are kind
Okay.
of transports.
Yeah. Yeah, we have 53s too.
So really cool mission because some of it's just blowing shit up.
Right.
And some of it's doing the ground and pound work that's kind of behind the scenes, man.
Right.
And
Okay.
a lot of it I didn't appreciate, man, at first because I didn't really understand. Like, you can hear it. If you live in the Gulf Coast, you can hear those gunships firing at night because they do all their missions at night. And it's like, I can imagine like a pirate ship. It just sounds like a boom. And it's you can hear it. Just fills the sky, man.
Yeah.
You don't really appreciate it until you start seeing some of the videos that like all the, they were insurgent hunting, man, and you Google it right now, and
Oh, I
all
know.
those
I've
green
seen-
videos
I've seen some of them.
that's some AFSOC boys getting
Yeah.
after it, man. So going there was awesome. Being attached to that, we would support them sometimes. But being a part of that mission, I remember one of the first times I saw a C-130 pull out, and it had a question mark on the tail. It just had a question mark. I was like, oh, that's some cool shit, man. But yeah, I got there, got to deploy a lot. In fact, my 19th birthday was my first deployment.
Okay.
So I deployed at 18 years old, man.
Yeah.
And then a few other cool ones since then. But
So so firefighter by trade,
Yeah.
right? So kind of I mean, I can imagine, right? But like, how does a firefighter support that mission when you're downrange?
Yeah.
You know, does that make sense? Do
Yeah,
y'all
it
set
does.
up like a mobile type firefighting capability with trucks, or like how do you do that?
yeah, it's the same as we do here, man. So it just depends. If you go to like a tent city, your job is to protect tent city the best you can. So
Okay.
walk around, make sure fire stuff is kind of safe, and
Yeah, yeah.
have a plan in case there is a tent that goes down.
Yeah,
But really, you're there for the aircraft.
that's what I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
You're there
So
for the aircraft.
I guess without having, like, if you were at like a fob, right? Like if you
Yeah.
go, like you said, like a tent city type thing, and you don't have a fire main, right? Like a central fire main for the base where you would fight aircraft, you know, firefight or aircraft fires on the flight line, right?
Yeah.
You have your trucks and everything. Like what capability do you have there if you're kind of forward as a
The
firefighter?
same ones.
Oh, really?
So yeah, we have some trucks that are transportable.
Okay.
And in fact, like some of the crummy thing is these trucks are smaller in gallonage, man.
Right,
So
right. I would
like the
imagine.
ones that can fit on these planes, man, they're only like 1,000 gallons. So it would take quite a few. Because my first deployment was PSAB, so we'd have like 15 trucks because
yeah.
we were supporting heavy aircraft there.
And they're
man.
smaller, so you got to have
They're
more,
smaller,
right?
so you got to have more of them, man.
Okay.
Now those have been replaced. You know, all of our major hubs now have 3,000 gallon trucks. So
Right.
there's 3 or 4 per like big installation. But
Right.
yeah, you're there for fire protection on aircraft is why you're there. But then most of our build up bases, we still do structure firefighting or medical response or stuff like that. So
Right.
although we weren't necessarily attached to AFSOC. Like AFSOC just doesn't pick up this entire mission, and that's not how the Air Force would deploy. Is just saying, hey, we're going to bring up the whole 1 SOW and throw them over here, and we go with them.
Right.
We just happen to be part of that wing and supporting all
Got it.
the operations that are going on.
Got it.
So
Got it. Okay.
some of them were like that first one was the Prince Sultan Air Base, Saudi Arabia.
Right.
That I may not have seen any other AFSOC people. I think I actually deployed by myself there, which was very interesting because no one even told me what the hell I was doing or going.
Yeah.
But the rest of the times there was some missions. Baghdad was the second one. The third one was Oman. The fourth one was Balad. The fifth one was Al Udeid. There was a sixth one in there too somewhere. But yeah.
So, when was your first one to Saudi? Was that
It was 2000.
2000?
Yeah,
So
August
pre
2000.
9/11.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
A way different deployment, dude. So
Yeah.
I remember getting there and like, what's this deployment like? And I had a nice dorm, man, and I had like
Yeah.
a DFAG, chow is what we called it, man. We had a pool. Like it was a totally,
Yeah.
like my living environment was nicer down range than it was back home. But after September 11th, that totally changed
Right.
all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
So
Because now you're doing more expeditionary
yeah,
type
yeah,
stuff, right?
Yeah. So I was second in. We had a crew that left pretty soon after September 11th kicked off. Went to Oman, and I think they stayed there longer than they should have. But we ended up replacing them, and they built up the base pretty good, but it was still tent city, man.
Yeah.
Like the bathrooms were tents
Right.
and all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
But those kind of locations is where a lot more of the deployments. I don't think I had I think maybe Balad, I lived in like a trailer or something.
Right.
but Outside of that, most of it was tents.
Yeah,
Like
tents.
that Oman, dude, I slept on a cot for, like
Yeah.
I couldn't move my neck and shit, dude,
Yeah.
forever, man.
Yeah.
That was pretty austere. But
Yeah. And so you do 10 years in Hawaii. Jesus.
might as well have been Hawaii.
Yeah. Florida. And then so did you like make this conscious decision like, man, I got to get the fuck out of here, or did the Air Force just kind of make that decision for you? You know what I'm
No,
saying?
it was interesting, man. So like Audrey had separated probably around my ninth and a half year, because she did 8 years and separated. So we're a mill on mill. So I think that was kind of holding our assignment together, because she was a firefighter too. So to get 2 fire folks out of there, and we weren't itching to go anywhere. Like we weren't like, I'm going to go to Korea. And that's the thing, is people use Korea as a route to wherever they wind up being. And I'm like, well, I'll go somewhere if we go somewhere. So once she separated, I was like, all right, it's game on, man. Like, like, I want to get us a place to go. So I remember putting in for Lake and Heath because Lake and Heath came up, England. And I was like, dude, I have got to be the hottest dude out there. Like, and I volunteered. I'll go for 4 years. I'll bring my family.
Right.
And I didn't get picked. So I go to our MPF folks. I'm like, hey, what's up with this?
Right.
And I was coded in the system wrong or something like that.
Yeah, imagine that. Clerical error.
And I don't know shit, man. I may still be there if one for the clerical error.
Yeah, right.
So they cleared it up, man. And the very first assignment cycle after that, I got orders to Ramstein, Germany, and
Okay.
that was cool, man. That was, and it kind of lined up perfect, man. I made master, E7, and ended up heading over there, man.
Yeah, and had y'all had Ryland at this point?
Yeah, we had Ryland, and Cam was just born.
Okay, so y'all had two, and then headed out to
Cam was just
Ramstein.
born.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Cam was, it was crazy. It's one of those, like, you had to have a passport. And we were like, hold his ass up for the picture. He's got a little floppy neck.
Yeah, for the no fee, right?
Yeah,
no fee
like,
passport. Yeah,
like, he looks like every other baby in the world. Like,
right.
What kind of shit is this?
Yeah, it's a baby.
Yeah, it's a baby, man. Like, I'm not smuggling a baby into Germany, dude. But yeah, we got him over there, and that was a pretty easy, fun transition, man.
Yeah, and then y'all did Alaska too, right?
Yeah. So we did 4 years in Germany. I did 2 years at the fire station, just kind of base level stuff. I got picked up to go to headquarters, man, to where we kind of oversaw all the fire departments in USAFE and Africa.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool, man. I got to do a lot of traveling there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got picked up for senior E8. So I ended up putting Alaska on my dream sheet, man. I've never
no kidding.
Yeah, like we wanted to stay overseas, and that's still considered overseas for us. And I've never met one person that's ever lived in Alaska that didn't like it.
I've heard exactly the same thing.
I was like, shit, man, let's give it a shot. And because it kind of came down on my list of available stuff, so I put it number one, man, and they sent me right there. So really, at this point in the game, like everything has worked out for me.
Right.
Like I wanted to stay in Florida for a little bit, then I wanted to go to Germany. It worked, and then I was like, hell, send me to Alaska.
Yeah.
And then Alaska worked, man, and that was a cool assignment too, dude.
Yeah.
That was a cool assignment.
Cold as shit, huh?
It was, dude. It's indescribable, man. Like negative 50 actual temperatures, man. Like not wind chill. Like some people from Grand Forks are like, oh, wind chill negative 70. Dude, normal negative 50 temperatures. Like I tell people this story, man, because I'm follically challenged, right?
Yeah.
I got no damn hair, so I usually wear my beanie to the gym. And one particular time, man, I worked up a good sweat, and I got back to my car, and there was fucking frozen beads of sweat on my head.
Jesus.
When I got back to my car,
That
dude.
sounds terrible.
That's how cold it was.
That sounds terrible, man.
It was very cold, dude.
Yeah.
And but that's a cool mission up there too. They changed their mission since then. We used to have aggressors.
Yeah.
So you used to go up there for red flags and
just
they were the bad guys, right?
Yeah, red cell kind of thing, right?
Yeah, very, very cool, man.
Yeah.
And did almost 3 years there. That's a great place to be too. That kind of made me realize that small town living's for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe not as small as Alaska small town living, maybe not that damn cold, but small town living, dude, that's where it's at, man. Alaska's just like kind of this place.
Yeah.
Out in the middle of nowhere, man. It's really got its own little community to support it there, man. But Alaska's beautiful, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It really is the final frontier.
Yeah.
You know, we'd have moose come in our backyard and eat things, and I mean, there's bears.
How
and
big
shit
are they,
on
man?
these.
Is it
They're-
shocking?
They're big, man.
Like it's like I see them on TV, but I can only imagine seeing a moose in person. Like
they're
it seems
big.
like it would be shocking.
Yeah, they're big, man. They look like big doofuses too, right? But they show you this video in your right start, and mooses are mean as shit, man.
Yeah.
Like, they will stomp your ass.
They
to
know they're
death.
big.
They will stomp you to death. And it's out of protection of like, you know, one of their littles or something. But they show a video of like a moose in front of like a Safeway or some other store like that. And a guy, I don't know what the hell he's trying to do, go pet it or something, and that thing stomped his ass to death. And they show you that at Right Star. I'm like, damn, man. Like, I'm just getting here. So I don't own guns. I'm not a gun dude, man, but I bought a gun when I went to
Hell
I went to Alaska. Like that's one of the first
Too many wild things up there,
one
man.
of the first things. They took me to the BX, man.
Yeah.
They took me to the BX, and they got a big old gun rack area.
Really? At the
Yeah,
BX?
at the BX,
Awesome,
man.
man. That's
Like,
cool.
Anything you want, man. It's you know, you have a jewelry counter that's like 4 rings and a necklace, and then you got 5,000 guns. Like, that's Alaska, man.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, I bought a shotgun, man, and they're like, well, you need to get some special rounds because you can't even kill a bear with this thing. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So I had to get these
like
lead rounds.
slugs,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Oh, shit, man. So thankfully, I never fired that thing once, man. I brought it with us every time we camped or anything. But
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that place is cool. Alaska's a really, really great place.
Yeah, so I tell you, man, they're showing you like moose stomp videos. I remember on my first, patrol on my first ship. So we went. I was out of Sasebo, right? I was on an amphibious assault ship. I'm trying not to say ship names just intentionally. I don't want to, right?
No.
But anyways, everybody will know which one was down there in that time frame. But my first underway, it was about a 3-month period, right? So we leave Sasebo, and we go to an exercise that we do in Thailand. It's every other year. It's called Cobra Gold. You might have heard of it. So we basically, our Marines do like a joint exercise, bilateral exercise with the Thais. And so we put our 31st MEU, and they go out in the field with the Thais and do a lot of field stuff. They eat cobra, no shit. It's some pretty cool stuff, right? But I'm just a Navy guy, right? So I'm standing shore patrol, whatever. I'm 21, but I'm like a E nothing, and they're like, yeah, man, you just wear your uniform, show up in your uniform, and you just basically make sure nobody goes to jail, they get too drunk, get them back to their room, is that kind of thing, right? But so you're watching moose stomp people. What they showed us was, and this was right around, I guess it must have been in the 90s. You remember that guy in Singapore that was spraying graffiti? And it was a big deal because they apprehended him, and in Singapore they give you lashes.
Oh no!
Right? So in Singapore it's corporal punishment essentially, right? Yeah. And so you'll do your jail time, but then they tie you to a pole, and they have this special. It's like a reed, it's like a bamboo in slivers, and they soak it in water for a long time so that it softens up, and then they tie you to the pole, pull your pants down, and. I'm not even joking, man. I'm not joking right now. I'm not joking.
Funny, man.
Listen, and give you lashes. So it was this big deal in the news before I joined the Navy that he was an American citizen, and so the American consulate was like, hey, we don't want you doing this to an American citizen. Singapore was like, you can go fuck yourself, right? Because we don't have a status of forces or anything, right? Yeah. And so they show us this video on the ship as a scare tactic, right? Not him.
Did the shit work, Dean?
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Everybody's on the mess decks, right? And and there's people that've been on the ship, a couple of years. They've been to Singapore before, and they're sitting there watch this shit, right? And it's oh my god, what's about to, oh no. And then it's brutal, dude. As soon as they it hits the skin, it just opens up, right?
It sounds like
and you're just and Singapore is one of those places, they don't even sell chewing gum.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you get caught spitting on the street or smoking in a non, designated area, smoking foreign cigarettes, you can't bring foreign cigarettes into Singapore, right? And so they scare you straight, man, because you go to Singapore, you do not want to get in trouble. You know what I mean? And there's so many laws that it's also easy to get in trouble as a sailor, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'll never forget that, man. But yeah, we went Pattaya, Thailand, pulled out of Pattaya. The thing is, I came into the Navy with a hernia, right? So I had a hernia, and I don't know how they didn't catch it in maps, but they didn't. I knew I had it, right? But so I had a hernia, came in, went to Pattaya. We left Pattaya, and it had gotten bad enough that so on this ship we support Marines, right? So you've got a full fleet surgical team just in case you bring Marines back from the field that they can do everything. It's basically a hospital on the ship. So it got bad enough that between Pattaya and then a month later we stopped in Hong Kong. They repaired my hernia underway, right?
Oh,
I laid up in the ward for a week, and then a week later we pull into Hong Kong, right? We're in Hong Kong for 4 or 5 days. Then we pull out of there, and we're underway for almost a month. Then we pull into Singapore, right? And so, 3 of the crown jewel of Asia port visits in my first underway. And when I joined the Navy, my intent was to do my 4 years. I was 21. I was in college already, and so my intent was to do my 4 years, And while I was finish up, I was already 3 years through college, right? And so my intent was finish my bachelor's and get out and go to law school because, like, my step family are all attorneys, right? But man, they pulled me into Pattaya, Hong Kong, and Singapore, and I was like, shit.
I'm good.
I'm kind of okay with this. I like this. This is fun.
That's funny,
So,
man. That's too funny.
So kind of getting back to you though, like, so I guess we've known each other a while, and I know that your dad was Air Force and also a recruiter.
Yeah.
So I guess I kind of assumed that you were like preordained that you were going to join the Air Force.
Yeah.
Is that the case? Like, did you always know that you wanted to, or?
You know, dude, I'm getting payback right now with my oldest. And it's going up through high school, even middle school, man. Like, I didn't apply myself whatsoever. I remember, hell, I was probably in the 6th or 7th grade, man, and they were like, well, maybe he's a little slow. And so they tested me, man. They had me, like, take all these tests, and I just remember, like, it was a memorization test, it was a vocabulary test. Like, it was, like, days worth of tests where they're, like, asking me these things. And I remember, like, getting the results, like, the next week, and my dad sat me down. He was like, Joey, like, you tested, like, 3 grade levels above where you're at. You lazy bastard.
Oh, he's mad.
And he was mad because I was totally capable of doing a lot better, man. I didn't want to do it, man. And it
Probably
was
bored to some
It
extent.
was always one of those things where, like, I didn't do my homework. I always had a story. And, you know, I wonder what it would be like now because I just kind of lived to report card day. I would tell my parents, like, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And they didn't know until the damn report cards came out. And then they're like, Joey, you're full of shit. You're doing bad. Look at all these grades.
Yeah.
Versus now, like, you get daily updates from the teachers,
from the
man.
teacher, progress reports, all that stuff.
So I don't know. But, yeah, man, I didn't apply myself at all. You know, my first couple of years in Germany, I remember there being a conversation and there was kind of a worry, like as we went to Florida, like what's going to happen. There was like a certain amount of days I missed and a GPA that just wasn't there. And it wasn't good, man.
Yeah, like they were thinking about holding you back maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what was going to go on. And my poor parents, man, like they tried everything. You know, they got involved with the school, and it was just, I just wasn't in it, man. And I'm sure now that, you know, we look back, I probably, you know, couldn't pay attention like I should have, or just didn't care. I don't know, man. So going into my high school years, it was like, I remember my dad, and growing up, rewind to Germany. I remember I used to work with him a lot. So my dad was a maintainer, but he had a side hustle to where he was a vehicle mechanic, and a really good one too, man.
Okay.
To where he always had a souped up car and everything else like that. But like in Germany, he was one of the only ones that could do certain things, like fix the automatic transmission. Like there was things that he can only do because he was that good.
Right.
And he's still that good.
Yeah.
And so he started bringing me to work with him. He's like, I'm going to teach you a trade, kid, because like this is what you're going to do. And I think he was trying to scare me straight, like, because I'd come home smelling like a damn grease monkey. Like, you know, you get all the cuts on your hands from slip wrenches, and it sucked. Like, it did. So he was definitely trying to teach me a trade, and they tried everything they could, man. And then fast forward into Florida, starting Florida was easy, man. There's so many students, there's so many people. Like, if you're nice to the teachers, man, and you care a little bit and you do a little bit of work, then you'll excel pretty easily. So I was able to go to Florida and catch up. Like, I remember being a junior and being in some freshman classes with freshmen, and they kind of put me in a corner, and they were like, just turn these 3 assignments in and you're done. And so they knew I was behind. So they got me to where I needed to be. So there was no scholarships coming, man. There was nothing else that was really on the table. So it was either, you know, work and get a trade or go in the military. And the military just seemed like the most logical thing to do, man. And
it was familiar to you too, right?
Yeah. And, you know, I saw my dad, and, you know, he was a senior NCO, and I'm like, you know, I see he had enough money. You know, he had a side hustle and everything, but he had enough money to have everything that I ever wanted. So I'm like, oh, this works for me, man. And seems like kind of a good deal. And so yeah, him being a recruiter, I always joke around and say, like, I took one for the team. But it was definitely it was one of those things to where I probably made that decision like in the 6th grade, like just you know, and didn't apply myself, and I don't mean that in a way to where, you know, people that come in aren't applying themselves.
Right.
Like there's a million different situations that somebody makes that choice to come in, man.
Yep. I think especially these days.
Yeah, some of it's
20 years ago is a little different.
Yeah,
Man,
some of it's patriotic, man. Some of it, especially after September 11th, people are signing up, say, "Hey, man, how can I help, man?"
Yeah.
And but just for me, it was like, all right, well, I need to do something, and it seemed like a good option, man. So at least my dad being a recruiter, I was able to kind of navigate and get a job I wanted to get, which actually wasn't firefighting at first.
Really?
Man. Yeah. So E3s, AWACS.
Okay.
So I was supposed to be a scope dope on one of those.
Okay. Got it.
So I signed up. I was at MEPS, signed up, guaranteed job for that.
Yeah.
My dad's like, yeah, you get flight pay, like you get all these great things.
And that's basically a radar platform, right? It's your big radar platform.
Same thing like yours.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, I'm in.
Yeah.
And then I found out like there's only a couple bases they have. And it was like Tinker in Alaska.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, So my dad left for lunch one day, and the other recruiter, his name is Walt Hagen. I sent him a note a couple of years ago to thank him.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, why don't you want to be a fireman? I was like, no, I'm no damn fireman. Like, who wants to be a fireman, man? Go run into buildings and shit?
Cool,
like, that's
man.
not me. He's like, Joey, come here. And this is before phones and shit, man. So he's got like the calculator on his desk. You know, like the normal, like I don't even, who owns a calculator anymore? Fucking Walt Hagen owns a calculator.
Yeah.
So he's got this calculator on his desk, and he's like, let me tell you about this fireman shit. And he's like 365 days in a year. And he goes, divided by 2. And he's like, see that right there? They only work half the year. But let me tell you, there's more. And he starts telling me about these special days off and all this other kind of shit. Yeah. And it winds up like at the end of it, it's like 130 is the number that's on the calculator. He's like, Joey, that's how many days you work a year. 130. And he's like, and when you work, man, you're playing volleyball. Like, you ain't working. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, they don't get no fires, man. Yeah. They don't get any of that. It's like, you're fine. And I remember it was like, all right, man. Like, I'm in. Like, sign me up. And my dad came back, and I was like, yeah, I want to switch jobs. He's like, you want to what?
Yeah.
I was like, I'll be a fireman. He's like, well, all right.
Yeah, I mean, any dad that you're like, I want to be a fireman. Like, that sounds cool.
Then I switched my job to be a fireman, man.
Nice.
And best damn decision I ever made, man.
Yeah.
And that's why I sent Walt a note a couple years ago. I was like, dude, like, had you not said something that day, my life would be totally different right now.
Yeah.
And you stepped in and did something. I don't know why, but it's just one of those butterfly effect things that are just supposed to happen, man.
Yeah.
And, so he's actually in Germany right now.
Been an air crewman.
Yeah.
In a very pigeonholed specialty where you wouldn't have left 1 or 2 bases.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's funny because Matt, the guy I talked to, you probably saw the Texan Connection, so I know you watched a little bit of that. So when he came in, he wanted to be a photographer's mate, right? Which is like a PA type guy, right? We used to separate it though. It used to be we had PH, which is a photographer's mate, and then we had a JO, which is a journalist, and then you had, now I'm going to date myself, we had lithographers, which ran the print shop, and then you had draftsmen who did like schematics, and anyways, they rolled all of that into this thing called MC, which a mass communication specialist, right? But anyways, so he's like a really good photographer, like amateur photographer, and so he wanted to be a PH. He ended up being an AT working on E6Bs out of Tinker, right? And it's funny because that's such a small community that like I got to my third command, and a fellow, so he's a senior chief, I was a chief at the time, his name's Larry Cutnock, right? He had come from Tinker, and he said, I got to get out of Tinker. So they let him kind of jump out and come to Japan. And he knew Matt because he was his instructor in Tinker, because it was one of those small, and that that's probably the kind of community you would have been in and not had the opportunity to kind of go different places, right? You know, so like for me, I wanted to be a SWIC guy, man. Like that was my dream. Yeah. Like initially when I signed up, like legitimately, Matt pulled me to the recruiter's office. He was like, "Dude, come on, let's go to the recruiter's office." I was like, "Dude, I probably shouldn't go talk to a recruiter right now."
Give me a little bit. Give me a little bit of time.
Come on, dude. All right, man, let's go. But so initially I signed up. I'm colorblind, right? And so, but I went in and I took practice ASVAB, right? And like, you know, this BM2's eyes, like, you know, you could see the little like money marks going through his eyes, right? And so anyways, he got me into PN personnelman on the fact that I was colorblind. I got to boot camp though, and they come talk to you about all these different specialty programs. And I didn't want to be a SEAL. That sounded really hard, right? You know what I mean? I could pass the PST no problem. You know, like it wasn't that, right? But then the SWCC guy came and taught. So SWCC is Special Warfare Combatant Crewman, right? Like they drive the boats.
Yeah.
They're the guys that drive like the getaway boats, right? Yeah. And I grew up, you know, bass fishing and skiing, and a lot of
Like
time.
the boat I go fishing in. Yeah.
I was like, dude, wait, what do they do? Like they drive boats and shoot guns off of boats? I was like, yes, please, right? And so I stayed behind. If anybody wants to stay behind and has questions, because what they'll do is back then they would pull you out. You do a PST. If you could pass the PST, you would finish boot camp, and then if you screened, then they would send you. You still got to do buds, right? But then once you're done with the initial buds, then you go a different route than the SEALs do, right? I swear to God, his first question was, "Are you colorblind?" I was like, "Yes." He's like, "Go back to your ship." Right? We call the barracks at boot camp, we call them ships. No. He's like, "Go back to your ship." I was like, "All right, petty officer."
Roger that.
Like, fuck. Oh. Dreams dashed, man.
That sucks,
man.
That sucks.
You know, but then you get to the fleet and you get to do a lot of cool stuff. You know, like, I mean, I probably know as much about shipboard firefighting as I do about my actual like in-rate job. You know what I mean? Which was an administrative type job, but like for like your administrative types and your supply types, and like your deck types, so the guys, you know, bosun mates, the guys that preserve the ship and they work on a lot of the, you know, the anchor, windlass, and a lot of the gear on the ship, right? Yeah. That's kind of like your day job, right? And then, like, you know, when the bells ring, that same group of people are the ones that man the repair lockers that are going to fight the fire or repair whatever damage, right? Because you have like your combat systems types that are in the Combat Information Center that are operating radars and fire control systems and all that stuff. So all the kind of like support folks, the ones that are manning all the, you know, the damage control stations, right? So. And then you learn a lot about force protection, like, you know, anti-terrorism, force protection, same thing, right? Like you have an opportunity to do all that stuff too, which is kind of nice, right? I think that's the thing I like about the Navy is that you kind of get this broad spectrum of, you know, of kind of a warfighting mentality. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, man.
I lucked out, dude. It's one of those things that end up, you know, the part of me that he. You know, I'm sure his intent was to get me into something that I really loved, and it did work. You know, he dangled what he thought was important to me at the time. Mm-hmm. Like I just saw the time and everything, man. But it ended up being such a passion now, dude. That I'll do it when I retire. Like it'll be something, man. It's, you know, he obviously exaggerated, man. You know, when he talks about, hey, I only work for these days, but there's things I've seen and done in those 130 days a year, man, that nobody who works 250 days or 300 days a year that has to deal with, man. So, so there's downsides to it too, man. But I definitely thank him for that, dude. And it led exactly where I am today. So
all right, so let's switch gears. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, so so if you're in Misawa or if you served with you before, like people that know you, they know you're a fucking gym rat. Yeah. Right? I think a lot of people that are going to watch this aren't going to know that for sure. So has that always been a thing for you, or did a switch go off, or was you in your first fire station and some meathead bullied you, and so you're like, I need to hit the weights, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, there's a funny story about that, man. Yeah. So, you know, I was always a bigger kid. Like in high school, my dad would say, like, I'm a husky.
Mm-hmm. Husky.
Here's your husky joke. Big bone is what I call it, man. So, no, I just remember going to basic, and like to be a firefighter, you had to lift a certain amount over your head, and that was easy for me, and I did well at that, and I I did the physical stuff in the fire school pretty easy. I never worked out, like never. Like I did the stuff I was supposed to do at basic training.
Right.
You know, whatever the 2 mile time was. Like I was never the fastest. I was never the slowest. Like I was just doing what I needed to do to get by.
Right.
But I didn't care about doing anything fitness. Get to my first base, man, and you know, they always say like when you go to college, you gain a little bit of weight because you're away from mom and dad, and you get lazy, and that's what happened to me, man.
Yeah.
To where my first couple years of Hurlburt, like, dude, I'm super cheap, man. If you didn't know,
Oh, I know.
and I'm super cheap, man. I got a crummy car. I don't have a lot of nice things. I just don't do it, man.
Yeah.
But so my logic to myself when I was an airman, like I had more money than anybody as an airman. Like I always had money. Like people knew if they needed to borrow money, I had money.
Yeah.
And it's because like I'd go to the store, whatever was the cheapest, I'd buy it. That was my food for 2 weeks. So this shit was ramen, Totino's pizzas, like anything that was processed and cheap, man. If I can eat for 2 weeks for $14, I'm in, dude.
I'm all in.
Like I don't
Who
care.
needs variety, man?
I'll just eat ramen every day, man. And it kind of didn't do a whole bunch of damage, man. But it added up, and to a certain point to where on my second deployment, the first team that went out, I had one of my good buddies, man. He's the chief over there at the Chief Leadership Academy for us right now. He's a prior command chief too. He deployed first, and like I said, we replaced him in Oman. And so there was like 5-6 month gap between the time I saw him, and that's when life slowed down for me or whatever. And I probably came in the military about 180 pounds, and then I got to about 220. And I didn't notice, right? Because like you see yourself every day. I'm just like, yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
And I remember this dude walking into Tent City, and I'm screaming his name. I was like, DJ, DJ. And he turns around. I run over to him. He turns around. And that dude, the first thing he said to me is, holy shit, you got fat.
That's a good friend.
I was like,
that's a good friend right there.
It's like, man, like, it had been 6 months, right? And I was like, well, I mean, I planned on working out this deployment, like losing a little bit of it, right? And so then that was the deployment where I found fitness. And this was in, like I said, this was 02. Yeah, 02.
Okay.
And, man, I lost... I got down to about 175 pounds. So what was that, 45 pounds? I lost during that deployment. And I was just in the gym, man. I was so strict. Like, I had certain things for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, man. Like, everything was just counted and, you know, I calculated, and probably annoying.
Right.
You know, some people are like,
certain amount of grams.
Yeah, dude, it was annoying.
Right?
Like, people like that are annoying, and I was that guy.
Yeah.
And so I found fitness, and I was in great shape. And then it was like, well, what can I do with this? Like, so then I get back to the States, and I was like, well, let's see how big and strong I can get.
Yeah.
And
you really got like into it. Like
I really got
started
into
feeling
it,
good
man.
about it.
Yeah. And you know, if you ever do like powerlifting or something like that, like you gotta eat big to get big to be big.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I was like, you know, I'm gonna be big, man. Like, this is what I want. And from about 2003 to 2000 and probably 9 or so or 10, man, I ballooned back up to 250, 260.
Holy cow!
Yeah, but I was strong as an ox. Man. Strong as an ox, man. But I always had food in my mouth, and like. But it was such a challenge because I still had to pass this Air Force PT test. So like I get really big and really strong, and I have to cut 20 or 30 pounds like 2 months prior to the PT test. Because we did taped, right? I still wanted to get my 90 or whatever, to do it once a year, whatever it may be. It was a little bit different back then, but I would always pass, never failed or anything. But man, it was a struggle bus to get there. And it was like, I remember thinking to myself one particular year, it's probably in 09 or 10, that I was like, man, like, who am I trying to prove? Like, who cares how much I can squat or deadlift or bench press? Like, it's starting to hurt my joints. Yeah. This whole cycling on and off thing to where, you know, you're losing a bunch of weight, man. Yeah. It's not healthy. It's not healthy, dude. Yeah. So I just stopped. And so I hovered around 200 pounds, 210 for a few years, and it just became a thing, man. That's where I hang out now. And but it's a lifestyle, dude. It's definitely something now to where I feel like You know, I can definitely feel a difference in my day if I don't start off my day with the grind in there, man. But yeah, I mean, it's a pride thing too, right? Like this morning I ran pretty fast. To know that there's a bunch of 20-year-olds out here that can't run as fast as me, they can't do some of the things I do.
Yeah.
It's a pride thing, man.
Yeah. And so I guess, do you do, so like your routine, is it, do you do full body? Do you isolate like certain body, like a normal kind of, you know, weightlifting routine? Would you consider yourself a power lifter or like a bodybuilder or something kind of in
just
between?
probably in the middle, man.
Yeah.
So I do focus on one body part a day for the most part. And it just goes in cycles.
Yeah. Never skip leg day.
I did it today, man. Before I went skiing. Yeah. It's the dumbest choice ever, dude.
Yeah.
Legs are genetic things too, man. I'm gonna have these big tree trunks, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But cardio every day, a couple miles. Just depends what my goals are. Normally in the summer, I'll just run 3 miles just for kind of fun and get out there. But now I'm running a little bit faster because I want to see how fast I can get. So I'm running pretty quick, just a couple miles every day, and that's about it, man.
And that, I mean, you know, we talk about it all the time, right? But like, what does that do for your mental health, man? Like you said, it's a good way to start your day. But like, if you go a few days without it, how do you feel?
Oh yeah, it's sluggish, man. Like, and I don't think it's really necessarily about it is about, you know, your body feeling like you've exhausted it. Like, I go to sleep. Audrey makes fun of me all the time, dude. Like, I am 0 to 60 to go to sleep, man.
Yeah.
Like, she sometimes she's like, are you shitting me? Like, because my head will hit my pillow, man, and I'm out in 30 seconds, dude.
Wow.
Like, I don't sit there and wake up in the middle of the night. Like,
Yeah.
I exhaust myself every day to where I'm getting good sleep.
Right.
But to me, it's more like, you know, the Make Your Bed type book, you know, Admiral Craven.
Yeah.
You accomplish something at the beginning of the day. So like this morning, man, I was up a little bit before 4 in the gym getting after it, man. I think I finished right around 6 o'clock or so. And it's Sunday, man. So like, it's like ain't nobody up. It's
you got it
6
to yourself,
a.m.
right?
It's Sunday. So I crushed everything that I could and smoked a workout, and most people aren't even awake.
Yeah.
And that feels good, man.
Yeah, man.
To know that, like, man, I did more before anybody woke up than they'll probably do all day.
Yeah.
And that feels accomplished, man. It's the same thing as making your bed. Like, you feel like you've done something.
Yeah.
And no matter how the rest of the day goes, you started your day off like that. Like, even if you go home and you just happen to have a down day, man, where you watch TV or whatever, like, you still crushed it to start your day off, man. And no one can take that away from you.
Right.
So it really is a big mental health.
Yeah, and I think that there's something to, you know, I feel this too. There's something to, like, so for me, I played sports, man, like my whole life, right? Basketball, football, never played baseball. But I mean, I grew up in a very competitive family. My kids have inherited that trait from me. We can't even play fucking Monopoly at the house. It breaks out into a fight. You know what I mean?
Flip the table.
Yeah, like legit. Somebody's crying. Somebody's like,
you didn't give me that deal.
Like quit being a sissy. You know, like it's that whole thing. It's like, all right, we're done. I'm not playing Monopoly. We can't do anything together. Like you got. But anyways, so this is how I feel, right? And obviously, I'm not in the gym as much as you, but I try to do something hard every day, right? You know, whether it's walking, you know, an hour and a half, or just something that makes me uncomfortable, you know. And I think that it's this internal competition, right? Like with myself. And if I, you know, kind of like to your point when you're like, well, you know, I did more than most people are going to do. It's not about them, right? It's about you. It's about like, you know, like I'm gonna, if I don't do this thing, then I kind of feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like I feel lazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you get in this kind of cycle of it, right? And you know, I was telling you, I'm day 25 into this 75 hard thing, right? I appreciate that for my birthday, right? You know what I'm saying? If you can't see that, that's the Glenlivet 15. Yeah. That is a fucking nice bottle of scotch. I appreciate that.
We'll crack that bad boy, Wayne.
Day 76, man. Day 76. We'll do a follow-up to this one on day 76 and drink a little scotch. But, you know, like I said, 25 days into this thing, man, and You know, I've been here in Masawa almost 18 months, and I'm here geo batch, and it's easy to just like come home, eat like crap, you know, have a couple beers, right, and then it goes on and on. And it's like, okay, dude, like, all right, let's hit the reset. You know, because I'm about to transfer back down, you know, here pretty soon to be with the family, right? And but yeah, like this idea of kind of competing with yourself, right? And I think that at least what I've experienced is as you get a little older, right? So now I'm in my 40s, right? And it's like, you know, I'm looking, I'm like, still doing pretty good, man, for being 40, you know. But then it's like, I know how much more, even at 42, that like I'm capable of.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to lose that like ability or edge.
No.
Like I don't want to be the guy that like I've got the knee and the ankle and joint problems because I got too, you know, fat and lazy, you know.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, right? As you get to like middle age, like you start challenging yourself.
You got to move it, yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
And I think you're right, man. I think the piece of, you know, it's not, hey, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times, like this morning, I saw maybe 2 people in there, man. So no one knows I was in there.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can't wake up any earlier than I can, but if I had it my way, and I'd go in there when no one would know, you know. And
right.
It is about me, and I think there's certain things that you challenge yourself to see. I just wish at this point, like, I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm able to be more strict on things. Like, I wish 40-year-old Joey can go back and tell 20-year-old Joey, like, hey, dude, like, if you want to do this, or this, like, just do it. And like now, I'm just like, if you want to do this, just gotta do it every day, chip away at it, and it's easy.
Right.
Like, that is very easy for me now, and it was not easy for me being 20.
Absolutely. Right. It's crazy, man. I agree. Like 22, 25-year-old Dean, like, gotten his own way on everything.
Yeah.
Like mental roadblock. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you're, you know, like super capable. Hadn't lost nearly as many brain cells at that point. You know what I mean? Like, hadn't bonked my head so many times, and like I was more capable then from. If you just look at it from like a mental, emotional, physical standpoint, right?
Yeah. You were
right, but
you were in your prime, Dean.
I'm like I'm 40, you know.
Yeah.
But
I think it's natural though, man, because you see a lot of people. You know, I remember growing up in the fire station and seeing the older guys.
Yeah.
Were like waking up all early and shit, and like. I'm like, what are you doing that for? And they like go run for fun, and and I'm like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
That looks terrible.
As I get older, I'm waking up early. I'm gonna go run for fun, and like, they had it all figured out, man. That's probably what the young folks think about us right now. Like, these idiots. Like, I want to go the afternoon.
Blah blah blah. They all say that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, but
well, I mean, like, I'll tell you, dude, it took a little bit of a leap of faith for me to do this.
Yeah,
it did. Just because, and I thought about it for a long time.
you told me about it a while ago,
right? Wow. And I think I was kind of waiting to retire. Like I'm going to wait till I retire, that kind of thing, right? And I thought to myself, I was like, why? Like, I can accomplish everything that I want to with this thing, right? Just I don't have to be retired to do that. I can be on active duty and do it, right? Because, you know, we talked about this, but like the whole idea of this thing is to, like, Joey Meininger is a cool motherfucker, right? You may not.
I think I am. Yes,
you're a pretty cool dude, right? You know, Frank Rice that I did an interview with, cool dude, right?
Yeah.
And like, this isn't a hit on like the, you know, the special warfare community, right? Because I love those dudes, and I got a lot of friends in those communities, right? But they kind of like got the market cornered on like sharing their military experience as like a path to success.
Yeah.
Right? And like us normal Joes, us firefighters and us, you know, personnel types and our aircraft maintainers and our, you know, Frank's a fucking cook, right?
Yeah.
You know, all have these
Big
like,
Frank's a cook.
Yeah, man.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a culinary specialist. You know, but he's also a director.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, he's made videos and commercials and He's got, he's literally got a pilot that's being screened at multiple film festivals
That's
right
cool,
now.
man.
You know what I mean?
That's cool.
And so, right, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
But I think everybody has. I look at this thing as an opportunity for anybody that I talk to like share the fact that they're cool people and they have interesting lives and they have a lesson to teach and a story to tell and otherwise they may influence a small circle, right?
Yeah.
But this has the opportunity, at least, or the potential to impact a much bigger circle than just the people they know necessarily, right? And if you get enough people doing that, then it's not like I'm looking for change or what. It's not that, right? It's like their story is your story, right? Joey Meininger's story, your outlook on life, your experience deserves, it deserves to be out there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Dude, it makes total sense, man. I think for me, I've done things like this before we really focus on like, hey, what's your leadership philosophy? Hey, what's your this or that, man? And one thing that frustrates me about what we do sometimes is that's not my identity, man.
Right.
I have my job and I love my job and I'm glad I get to do it and it's awesome. But that's not Joey, right?
Right.
And a lot of times people will hang on and to certain things you say or do, they're like, oh, Jake Meininger is a great person. I'm like, dude, you don't even know me. You don't know the 5 things I said. Right. I read some books so I can regurgitate some of the information that's in there, but do you know some of the background stuff? And a lot of it's my fault, because
but like, when are you going to have that opportunity? You don't. No. Especially the more senior that you get, right? Command chief, command master chief. When are you going to you don't have that opportunity,
you know? It's a fine line. So yeah, I appreciate this, dude. Hopefully it kicks off for you, man. And if anything, this is a good example of, if you want to do something, just do it.
Exactly.
Like if if you're waiting for that special time or moment to happen, if you're waiting for life to have that void to where everything lines up perfectly for you to take that chance, then it ain't ever gonna happen, man. And you're gonna continue to push it off to the right, dude. And it's and whatever these are with you, at least you have stories and you have documented things that you can go back to and listen to later on with all your buddies and and have that, man. And like I said before, if somebody hears something and they chuckle a little bit, cool. If they're like, hey, I'm glad he said that or she said that, because I feel the same way. A lot of times we can't say the things we want to say, right? Because we got to be a little filtered, man. So I appreciate some of the unfiltered stuff that comes on through here. I look forward to it, man.
I think it's gonna be fun, man. So, you remember Chris Norris?
Yeah.
So next weekend we're gonna talk.
Cool dude, man.
Yeah, he and I are gonna talk next weekend. He's in Thailand. They just bought a house in Chiang Mai, right? You probably saw on Facebook.
Yeah, saw that.
So I'm gonna talk to him.
He's an ornery dude. I'll tell you that, man. He would not let me pass him in that damn fitness challenge.
Hey, man. So you talk about
he almost died.
You talk about a guy that's like in competition with himself.
He is, man.
That's him.
Oof.
Like, he is constantly in competition with himself, but it's not obnoxious, right? Like,
no.
But he's not about losing.
Yeah. He's not, man. I don't have the heart to pass him.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't do it. I mean, by the heart, I mean the cardio. Like, I couldn't pass the dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, no, but I'm excited, man, about it. So I am going to switch gears again, right? I appreciate that. Right. So, name of the podcast is The Rising Sun, right? So I thought it was pretty clever. Nice play on words, right?
I like it, man.
You know what I mean? But the intent of that is twofold. I've talked about kind of what it means to me, metaphorically, is this concept of a rising person, a rising sun, like improving and not being done, right? But it's also because I'm basically half Japanese at this point, right? So, so you guys have been here about going on 20-ish months,
20
right?
months, yeah.
Favorite thing about Japan?
The culture, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, the culture. We chatted about it a little bit in the car the other
Yeah.
day, and I probably won't navigate through that whole chat, but
Yeah.
it is, there's something to be said about the Japanese culture and the fact that probably the most respectful people that you've ever met. And you don't realize it's the little things in life to where I remember this very vividly. The last time I went back to the United States, I flew from Haneda, I don't remember, Tokyo,
Yep.
to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And the service that I got in Tokyo is the same folks that are loading my bags underneath the plane. They come in the jetway and they're bowing to you. They're telling you, I'm sure, have a safe flight. I don't know.
Right.
They're saying something very nice
Yeah.
to me in Japanese.
Yeah.
I'm trying to repeat it back to them.
Yeah.
So I'm probably telling them to have a safe flight too, even though they're not going anywhere. But very respectful, man.
Yeah.
I landed in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a totally different world, man.
Yep.
Like, I remember going through TSA because you have to recheck your bags and go through TSA again. And I remember seeing a TSA agent yelling at this old man. He probably was 75 or 80 years old. And he had something in his upper pocket because he just had a surgery or something like that. And he can't hear. He's old, And I get she's a TSA agent. I'm sure she has to repeat herself 4,000 times a day. I got it.
Right.
But the dude's like, I just had surgery. I can't stand up because he's in a wheelchair. She's like, sir, you need to take the thing in your mind. And she's just grilling him. And he can't hear her. And he's got something from his surgery in his pocket, man. And I'm just like, we have lost our damn minds, man.
Yeah.
Like, to go from a culture that is so respectful to our culture that this is an old man.
Right.
Like, he has seen and probably done and dealt with a lot in this world.
Right.
He doesn't need to deal with this lady.
Right.
Versus this, I mean, some of those people who are loading my bags were probably 70 as well.
Yeah.
And they're still out there getting after it, man. And it's just such a respectful culture, man. And I feel like it's everything that they do, man. To this day, you stop at a stop walk or a stop sign or whatever, crosswalk.
Yeah.
And I don't give a shit if it's icy outside and there's a jazz deaf person or Japanese, they will run across because they don't want to burden you.
That's right.
They don't want to burden you.
100%.
Go stop at a stop sign or a stop walk or crosswalk in downtown USA.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to slow pimp walk and look
bebop
at you
across.
like, what? Like, you got something? And the culture, man, is just is something else. And like I told you the other day about the pool stuff, never in my wildest dreams. I've been to all kind of amusement parks in Orlando. I'm a Florida guy. I went to the amusement park with my family here a couple months ago, and it was an indoor water park. And they had some lockers in there, man, but we wanted to take pictures throughout the day. I don't have a fancy, I'm cheap, remember. I don't have a fancy waterproof camera. So I wanted mine accessible, but I didn't want to put it back in a locker. So I left 2 pretty decent cell phones and a couple $100 in cash in a plastic bag next to the pool. And I never once worried about it. Like, I left it there all day. Like, no one's going to take my money. We don't lock our cars here. Like, I don't know how.
It's crazy.
It is crazy, man.
Like, in what we consider a modern world, right? I've left my phone on the train in like Yokohama, Tokyo, multiple times. And I've gotten it back every time. And if I forgot my wallet somewhere, I've gotten it back with the money still in it every time, right? And I think that I agree with you, right? So, this is probably, it's feeling like this is going to be a common theme, right? Because I asked Frank, same response essentially, right? Because it feels like sometimes in the States we fucking stopped being nice to each other.
We did. We
right?
did, man.
And we stopped having some sense of social responsibility in that, like, you're going through your day as a person trying to get through life just like I am, and like just that alone should breed some level of like respect and generosity and like just kindness, right? And so the Japanese definitely have that figured out. Now there's some drawbacks to that, right? Like this kind of sense of individualism and individual merit and accomplishment really gets pushed down in a lot of ways because of that culture, because everybody's so socially responsible to each other. But it's like, it's hard to do great things, right? Necessarily, because the Japanese culture is you don't want to be different, right? You don't want to offend, you don't want to embarrass, and so these opportunities to do really outstanding, spectacular, great things are not as available as they are in the States. So it's almost like the yin and the yang kind of thing, right? Like we value the individualism, and that's how we're able to get, Jimi Hendrix and people that do amazing, great things that are out of the mold, right? So, but it's like, we kind of just we need to bring some of that that kindness back, and you see it in the military. I think we're good in the military, right? And we're not always perfect, but we do a pretty good job, I think. And the other thing is, like, it's hard to make generalizations about the states too, right? Because if I go home to small town Louisiana or Texas, it's all good. Like, everybody's being pretty friendly down there still. It feels like it's in these high pressure kind of areas, right? But no, I agree, man. The culture is great. There's a reason why I decided to raise my kids here. So.
Yeah, I think looking at the states, man, I think it's a mix of a few things, man. I think we've almost started like this avatar style of living, man, to where like we hide behind these screens and we say things and we don't care. We like to feel like things that we do behind a screen, between feedback and what we say to people, like we like to feel like it's not real. And then that in turn numbs us.
Yeah.
And so as we're going out into society, we can't, it used to be like, man, sometimes we'll have this fake thing that we have online, and that's the time we're being asked to somebody, and but then that's just folded in there to where it's not accepted as a society, to where, man, we're just not kind to each other. And there's still problems in the South too, man. I think me and you won't see some of the problems that are still occurring, man. And that's, when the things happen in 2020, I remember talking to one of my good buddies, and he told me some stories about the South. I'm like, what? Yeah. So there's still some unkind things, man. But at the end of the day, if we can adopt some of that culture, man, and still somehow let people be individuals, and we just, you don't have to be an ass to be an individual.
Right.
You do need to think outside the box a little bit, but. Yeah, I'll miss that for sure the most, man. It's a beautiful country too. Traveling, skiing, all that stuff's cool, but the culture.
Yeah, I think that, if I think about Japan, I think about like the military culture, right? And I think the thing that American culture right now is missing is this idea of like one set of common values. Yeah. Right? And we're supposed to have that, right? It's supposed to be the Constitution, right? And freedom and liberty, and right? And we're supposed to have this one set of common values, and you know what? We can figure it out around this set of common values. In the military, we certainly have it. The Air Force has its core values. We have ours, and the Navy, the Marine Corps has theirs. I'm sure the Coast Guard's got something, right? But and then like honor, courage, commitment, and then everything around those. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so we can figure it out around that. Japanese society is there's probably not a 3 words that describe it, but it's social responsibility is what it is, right? Like, don't offend, don't embarrass, work together, right? That's kind of the theme, and it just feels like we kind of lost that, right? We didn't lose it, we just kind of like temporarily forgotten it, I think, in the States, and and it's not everywhere. That's not everywhere, man. And it's sometimes when you're over here overseas, like you only know about the States from what you see on TV. Yeah. And it can be depressing,
And that I think is kind of some of the problems too, man, is, we don't highlight good news stories, man. You get on, pick a news network, man, and obviously today everything's going to be about Russia and Ukraine, right? But scroll down a little bit, man. You don't see the good news stories. You just see the opposite sides problems, and that's our problem, man. Is we have become a society of people that look for validation of our own thoughts, and we don't encourage contrary beliefs to ours. We don't try to seek out others' opinions. Like we look, if I'm pissed off at Dean,
Yeah.
I try to find articles that tells me that you're a shitty person.
Yeah.
I don't try to find the articles that tell me you're a great person.
And also, I try to figure out who Dean is, meaning not only am I mad at Dean or do I hate Dean,
Yeah.
I hate everybody
Yeah.
that I perceive to
Yeah.
be like Dean.
And
Does
that's
that make
what we
sense?
do. Yeah,
we group everybody into this thing.
Fuel this fire internally, and we're like,
Yeah.
oh, I needed this shit and blah blah blah, and that's why he's a terrible person versus trying to see the other side. Like we don't do that very well, man, and we stick to. I'd say if you're a Fox dude, then move to CNN for 6 months, man. Like, just at least get the other's opinions, man, and see, and vice versa. And that's, I don't know. I think that's some of our problem, dude. But I think at the end of the day, like, I have hope. I have hope that we'll navigate towards something. I don't think we're going to be like. I don't think we're ever going to be a culture like Japan.
No. Which I wouldn't want us to be.
Yeah.
Right? I just think there's some things that we could learn from it.
Yeah. It'd be nice if nobody would steal your shit. Like, that would be nice.
Absolutely. It would be nice that the response is you shouldn't steal instead of you shouldn't leave your things unattended.
Yeah.
Right? Like, those are two completely different thought processes, but, like, how did we get here? Where it's like, oh, you left your shit out? Like, this whole lot when I was in Hawaii, right? So people wouldn't leave their garage door open inadvertently.
Yeah.
And the police would come and they're like, "Oh, your door was open." Okay, right?
Yeah.
And they call it a crime of opportunity. The fuck does that mean? What you just said was it's my fault that my shit got stolen, right? So, anyways, but
it's tough, man. I mean, there's, I don't know. We could probably peel that back for another 4 hours, man, to figure out what our problems are in the States. But
yeah, it's all good.
That'll be something I'll miss for
so
sure.
you're going back home, right?
Yeah,
like after when you leave here, right? Going back to Florida.
Back to Robert for the third time, man.
You stoked?
I'm excited, man. A little nervous. It's just like anything. I was telling the boss the other day, he hopped in my office, and he was checking on me. He's like, "You don't look the same." Like, I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I'm tired? Like, what? Thank you. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Like, did I lose some weight? My jawline looking good? I don't know. But he's like, you're just not your chip yourself. And I was like, the reality's setting in that I'm leaving, man. And being the new guy again and all that other stuff. And I tell people this all the time, and they think it fades when you make rank or whatever. And being a new guy sucks. I don't care if you're a 6th grader or you're a chief that's been in 28 years, man. Like, it sucks because no one's going to read my bio and say, well, this guy's great. Look at his bio. They're going to look and find things in your first impression that either they don't like or there's something else going on with you. They're trying to figure you out. Your heart is in a microscope. Like, and it takes, especially if you're an introvert, man, like it takes me a little while to get comfortable and it takes me a little while to find my groove. And I feel like I found it here, man. I'm in my groove. Yeah. I'm ready to rock and roll. Yeah. And now I'm going to a new place, man, to where it's going to take me a few months to get in my groove and I'll be ready to rock and roll. There'll be some uncomfortable learning curves, man. And all that just kind of sunk in last week. And, cause I got my movers coming up next week and so it's nerve-wracking, man. It's like completely different mission. It is a different lens that I've been looking through the whole time at that operation. Like I've dealt with the planes, I've dealt with all the things that they do there as a responder. But I don't know like mission what they're doing. Like I just know if you're gonna crash on the way back, you're gonna give me a call and we're gonna help you out. I don't know what you were doing when you were out. So that's all new, man. But it is kind of surreal, imagine growing up at a place and seeing that base and, watching all the things going on. And I remember the command chief as an airman. Like, I remember this person who was just like bigger than a person should be, not like physically, but just like I didn't presence. Presence. Like, and all of a sudden, like, that dude's going to be me. I can't let these A1Cs down, right? Like, they need to tell somebody 20 years from now that there's this Paul Bunyan dude walking around, like, and that's a lot of pressure, man. And you always feel like you won't be able to meet what you're supposed to meet. So all that settles in at one time, man, and it's all getting kind of real.
I'll tell you though, man. Like, get a little squishy with you, right? So you're gonna do fine. You're gonna fucking crush it. You've crushed it here, right?
Yeah.
And the relationship that we've had, I think, has made this base better. Two people, right? Our relationship has made this base better, right? And so I appreciate that, right? But I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that, like, it's probably good, and you know this, right? It's good that you're worried. It's good that you doubt yourself, right? Because you don't get full of hubris and overconfidence. And so, like, you show up not, like, unconfident. Like, you're going to be able to do it, right? But a little bit apprehensive, maybe, So, all right, let me see who's who in the zoo. Like, that little bit of nervousness is a motivator, right? But you're going to be fucking fine, right?
It'll be
what I'm
good,
saying?
man.
And it's going to be fun. You're in Florida.
Yeah.
You kidding me? You get to drive your
slingshot, man.
Yeah, your slingshot, right? You know what I mean?
Give me a motorcycle too. We'll see. But it'll be missing this place too, man. That's the thing is, like, all these PCSs you do, man, and movements, and you meet some really special people, dude. And I'm a terrible communicator long distance, man. Like, I suck. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I know that some of the people that I meet from here, man, that I really want to continue relationships with, I just can't, man. Like, I suck at it. Like,
I got it.
You're gonna drop me off. It's just gonna happen, man. Yeah. Like, and some people understand that, and I feel like there's people out there. Mark Hughes is one of my buddies who lives in Alaska. I ain't talked to dude in probably 6 or 8 months, but he's one of the guys I feel like that we just have that unspoken thing. Like, you call me up, I will show up with a shovel. Yeah. Like, you got some explaining to do, Mark, but I'll be there, man. And I think a lot of us make friends like that, man. But saying goodbye sucks because people are always like, oh, it's a small Air Force, we'll see you again. Yeah. Man, like, it won't be the same. It won't be the same, man. Like, you won't be right next door to me. We won't be in meetings together, like, laughing at each other's jokes, or like we have this little thing between us, and like when somebody says a word that they always say that's annoying, we look at each other and like, try not to laugh. Like that shit's not gonna be there anymore, man. So that part bums me out too, man. So it's just the part of what we do, man. Like, this one here was my 5th PCS in 6 years, and that's tough, man, because that's a lot of moving. That's a lot of being the new guy. That's a lot of. But I will say this. Chances of me being the new guy and starting off a little bit better than I did here is probably very likely. I will be patient.
Somebody showed up with COVID. Let's just say what it is.
I got
like at the height of the pandemic.
Patient number 8, man, right here. Patient number 8, dude. I got a police escort, dude. I can't wait for my going away to tell people. I had a guy bring me some damn food and realize I was the wrong person and take that food back, man. Because I was the COVID patient. Like, you shouldn't even want it back now, man. Like, I touched the bag. Like, I like the spoon, you have COVID now.
I like the spoon.
But yeah, I know it won't be that challenging like it was here. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a sad day, dude, and it always is. And
it's all good, man.
Yeah,
y'all have fun, and I know you'll be busy, but. I'll stay in touch, dude. I'll stay in touch. I'll stay in touch for you, buddy.
Yeah. All right.
If you don't reply, light just went out. That's probably telling us something.
Yeah.
If you don't reply, then
I'll reply.
If you don't reply, then I'm gonna hit Audrey up. Then I know you'll reply because she'll fuck you up. So, anyways, all right, dude. We want to wrap this up. So, any closing thoughts? Anything you want to leave us with, man?
Nah, man. I appreciate it, dude. I look forward to seeing who else is on here and just getting some of their thoughts. What I listened to yesterday was cool. And I think with all these, the most important thing is we're all people, man. And regardless to the positions we hold, and I know that you have a large variety of people you're going to put on here, man. We all have some cool stories, man. And thanks for spending the time. Now, we could probably talk for 20 hours about cool
I keep
stories.
going, man. I keep going.
But thanks for spending the time to help share some other people's stories, man. And if whoever's listening out there, like, that dude next to you at the bus station, or across from you at the library, or in your office next to you that you don't talk to, they got stories too, man.
Yep.
And maybe they ain't gonna share them with you because maybe you're a dick. I don't know.
Right.
But
Yeah.
maybe you should try to understand people's stories, and
Yeah.
to go back to your point of, you know, us being a little bit nicer. And I think we would be if we actually saw people for more than the surface level of who they are. If we saw the backgrounds, the relationships they have, the mom, dad, like everyone you talk to's got something great about them. You just gotta pull it out, man.
That's right.
And with some people it's tough because they are introverts or they're guarded or whatever, and they're not going to likely share that information. And sometimes it's like a long game, man. Like, you know, I'm going to bake you a cookie today. I'm going to get your name tomorrow. I'm going to get something the next day, but slowly but surely I'll get to know you, man. So you're sharing stories, and I appreciate it. I look forward to hearing all the stories that you have. And all the great folks that you have on here, man. And good luck with it, dude. I know for you it wanted to be a hobby and just kind of something to where you're documenting some stories, man.
That's it.
And maybe you sit back 10, 15 years from now, watch these and have a beer and have a laugh or two just to remember things. But good on you for stepping out and finding something you want to do and following through, man. So I think that'll inspire a few folks to follow whatever it is they want to do, man. But I appreciate you.
Good shit, man.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
All right.
Nope. Fuck COVID.
We'll see you,
bro.
man.
All right, man.